Hi everybody, and welcome to the Turbogons channel. I'm your Rodelmeister, Rob Young. Now, today we're going to talk about it's called a quick start guide to Rodeling. It's just to get you on the snow and get you under control as quickly as possible with some understanding. That's a very important point there. But you're not going to believe me when I say this, but actually turning is very easy. You see the way this Kufen is pointed, it's pointed that way. This one is pointed this way. And I explained how to do all of this back in 2012, but I'm going to try to make this really quick. All right? If you put weight on the edge of this Kufen, you will, it's going to be hard to believe, you're going to go that way. You put this one, you put weight on this one, you're going to go that way. Strangely enough. That's all there is to it. The only thing you have to learn is how to apply that pressure. That's it. And now I'll explain why it works. This is skis are in the classic snowplow position. That is exactly what a rodel is about. It's always in the snowplow position. Always, always, always. And it is always edged. That's why it works. When you're learning to ski, you learn that this one is pointed one way, so you edge it if it's pointed in the direction you want to go. This one over here is pointed this way, so you put the weight on that edge, and it'll go where you want it to go. It's all that simple. It's just, it's so simple. It's absolutely ridiculously simple. Now, all we're going to talk about then is how do you apply that pressure, and why is this rodel so cooperative about following your orders? Regarding the construction of a rodel that help you do what you do with it and help you control it and make life easier and a lot more fun. One of them is flexibility. The Schlitten can't do that. You can tell. It just, you can see the wiggle there. So you can change the contact between the running surface and the snow. You change the radius of the contact just by tapping one of these over. Not really tapping, it's more like a push. Although you can tap it, I've done that. The other thing is the snowplow effect we talked about before, because you can see each Kufen is pointed in the opposite direction. So you weight one or the other and you go the way that it's pointed. That's a big deal. The other thing I want to point out is that let's turn this guy around. That, folks, is the French curve. Anybody who's been in drafting at all knows about a French curve. It turns out the shape of the Kufen is a French curve. Now, I don't know who thought about that, but I think it's an absolutely brilliant idea. And what it does is, the Kufen never really goes absolutely straight. It's on a radius, all along a changing radius, a constantly changing radius along its entire length, which that's actually pretty cool. Now, the reason that's important is because you get different effects. This is the other way that you can change the radius of your contact with the snow, and hence the radius of your turn. So if you come more forward up in here, you're going to be in a tighter turning radius configuration than if you're back here. If you put your weight back here, if you sit back farther, you're going to tend to run straight and just just absolutely straight. That's about the best way I can say it. No doubt. And it's like you're on rails. Well, in a sense you are. That's the translation for the running surface here is rail. But I don't like to call them that. That sounds, I don't know, doesn't sound quite right to me. I'd rather call them by their real names, like Kufen. And if you want to use the German on the stainless steel here, that would be Edelstahl. But anyway, moving along, so that's a very important point. Bring it, like I say, bring your weight forward. You can get more of a swiveling effect when you want to turn. It's real easy, nothing complex about it. The Kufens have an angle. And that's what keeps your snowplow on edge, is the Kufen angle. Your snowplow effect is always on edge. So it's a matter of, you can see that's the angle right here. This is, you can see how it's tilted this way. It's not straight up and down. Not straight up and down at all. Schlittens tend to be that way, but not these guys. That's what helps to make a turn, because you're always on edge. And the wider the angle, the greater edging you have, and the more your turn is engaged. You can make a sharper, more consistent turn. The better, the larger the angle is. But of course, there's a point of diminishing returns. Now, the practical angle limit for recreational and some racing is 25 degrees. That's my favorite angle. That's what's on my sport Rodel. This is a 20. It does not turn as quickly or as good as my sport Rodel, and that's one of the reasons why. So that Kufen is pointed that way. So I weight it. Just press it, and you can actually help the effect and have a cross pressure effect on how much pressure is exerted on the horn of that Kufen. And by the way, you want to keep your legs high on the Kufen for the best effect. That better leverage. That should be obvious. So what you'll reflexively do is hang your inside of the turned foot toward the inside, because you're going to have centrifugal force. And so the centrifugal force is best balanced by putting your weight to the inside. It's a natural movement. You can affect a turn just by doing that. Just by pressing here and pulling here, and that's it. It's super simple that way. The way to augment that, and you notice my weight is forward. I'm not way back here somewhere. If I'm sitting back here, I'm going straight. If I'm up here, I'm wanting to affect a turn. All right, so I want to turn this way now, and I really want to make it fast. All right, I start pulling over here, trying to lift that Kufen. You never will. But the effect is as if you change the contact with the snow just a little bit. The same thing happens over here. You're pushing, you have a cross pressure to help you make that push effective, and you say, no, I need to be sharper than that. All right, so you put your hand down, but it's not a drag. What you're doing is actually pushing down, and that causes the pressure that goes over to this side and helps this side track better. You see? So you're taking the weight off this, essentially, and you're placing it on this one, and you're making it edge better. And so you're going to have a sharper turning radius. It's entirely possible to overdo this. You could wind up doing a 180 in certain types of snow. So you have to be a bit subtle about it. You'll learn. But that's really all there is to it. The classic position, if you want to call it that, you'll see it in a lot of photos. And actually it's kind of classy in a sense. But it has a real purpose. You'll see a guy's turning, it says elbow up, and you've got a cross line to the hand that's down in the snow. There's a real reason for that. You're using the muscles as effectively as possible to do this. Now, obviously, if you're going to make the other turn the other direction, it's going to be like this. And you'll have that classic position again. So, really, turning, that's it in a nutshell. Obviously, the first thing I teach people before they even go down the hill is I want them to stop. And that's all there is to it. That's it. You pull. This way you push on the snow with absolutely flat feet. You will stop. There are other ways to do it, but really it's the most effective. I think we covered it. See, I told you it'd be fast and easy. So, as always, happy rodeling.